Okay, we'll make the turn with Dean Bokuniewicz, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good to have you in. And as you guys can see, we'll start by these beautiful Rocket Classic flags that we're holding. Dean, the director of marketing for the Rocket Classic.
Yep.
Dean, talk about what you brought in here.
Yeah, so we got two pin flags from the 2025 event. The one you're holding is obviously a special color, so that's the Rocket Red.
Yep.
Typically, we've had the white pin flags over the years, and we got the tour to give us special clearance to have the red pin flags. And then this one is signed by the entire field. So the one Mike's holding was signed by Aldrich Potgieter, winner of the 2025 event. And this has got a little bit of everybody.
Well, thank you for bringing these in. We appreciate that.
Of course,
we'll do a cool giveaway or something for the folks watching. As always, we appreciate it. And Dean, looking forward to talking a little bit about your career and, of course, getting into all things Rocket Classic as we're excited for the 2026 tournament. So
awesome.
Appreciate you coming in, and it's really awesome to have known you for many years. And really, when we talk to a lot of people on this podcast and having people in to see our studio and whatnot, it just fits from a make the turn, our company name perspective. There's so many turning points in your career. There's so many different directions, maybe planned and unplanned, that you kind of go. Why don't you give the folks just a quick background on your career, and let's kind of just give us a background of where you started in your career and leading up to where you are now, and we'll get into more of that.
Cool. Yeah, so I've been in the sport and entertainment space for I think just about 8 years now. Started my career with the Detroit Pistons. Coming out of college, I went to Eastern Michigan University and had a major in sport management, minor in business, and knew that I always wanted to work in the sports industry.
Yep.
Like probably a lot of people who grew up playing sports and were athletes and didn't really know what they wanted to get into. But started off the Detroit Pistons, kind of cut my teeth selling ticket sales, was fortunate enough to have some success. And got promoted to more of a premium selling area. So think suites, courtside seats, those types of things. Really enjoyed that. That to me, when I speak to college kids that are trying to figure out what they want to do in their career and they want to get in sports, I always suggest starting in ticket sales because that's one of the quickest ways you can learn the space.
What's a great example of that, would you say?
Just getting dealt a ton of rejection.
Yeah.
Love my Pistons. They're doing great this year, and it's awesome to see them succeeding. But from 2017 to 2020, when I was there, they weren't performing the best. And when you have to sell a team to C-level executives, the average fan off the street, and you have to show the value of why coming to a game is worth their money, it's tough to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in those situations, it's really just about outworking the rest of the people on your team. So being able to handle rejection, fight through that, understand, really ultimately how you show value, and go and close the deal. So to me, that's just one of the best things a new career, someone coming into their career.
You really get to see all different
Yes.
areas of the team, and you get to network a lot and be out and about, and it's a great way to build relationships too.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice point about dealing with rejection too.
Yeah.
There's sometimes no one wants to fail, of course, but man, you learn so much from rejection and from mistakes and failure to help correct things moving forward.
You got to fail. Failure is the only way to get better. If
Right.
you're only succeeding, you're probably not getting any better. And I think the more you go throughout your career, the more chances you have to take.
Yeah.
Because it's good to see what you did wrong, the mistakes you made, and where you can get better. So ticket sales is a great way to do that. But so did that for 3 years, and tried to get out of the sports space to try and make a little bit more money. Being in ticket sales, I think sometimes there's challenges based on what you can or can't make from a salary or from a yearly perspective.
And that's going to be heavy commission?
Heavy commission.
Yep.
Yep. And early career ticket sellers don't make a lot of money. It's a cool job. It's a fun job.
Yep.
You're replaceable.
And it's also, and I want you to continue, but it also is a situation too where, if you are tasked with outreach and cold calling and stuff like that, being able to talk to someone and say, hey, I'm Dean with the Detroit Pistons, or I'm with the Detroit Red Wings. You pick the team, But point being, you have kind of at least a little bit of a warm opportunity where people are maybe a little more likely to take your call because you have the backing of such a cool pro sports team that's your employer.
Yep, you're
you
not
know?
selling paper.
Right.
Shout out to The Office and Michael Scott. But yeah, you actually have a fun product that people are probably interested in. So coming off of the Pistons, I attempted to make a jump into SaaS selling, so software as
Yep.
a service and it was a point of sale system company. And 2 weeks into that job, COVID hit, and I got laid off. So I spent 3 weeks into a new career, or attempting a new career, and got laid off and kind of flipped my world upside down.
Yep.
I just left a space that I loved. Grew up playing basketball, coached it, like that's probably my main passion. Took a risk and it backfired on me. So that happened, had to battle through some adversity and live the unemployment life for, a couple months. Ended up in logistics and in the automotive field for the next year and a half, 2 years. And when I think about a turning point, I think those 2 years doing something that I didn't love and wanting to be back in the space that brought me so much joy was a realization to me that it was like, I need to get back into doing something that I really enjoy and am passionate about. Because, being in the automotive space, it was just kind of checking boxes each day.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody went through their struggles during the COVID years, but it took a toll on my mental health. And I just wasn't wanting to go into the office. I wasn't wanting to do the work. So fast forward through that, my next gig, I landed up at PointsBet in the sports gambling space, and that was kind of my reintroduction back into sports. And that was one of my favorite jobs that I've had. I was there for about 2 years. Was remote in Detroit. They were based out of Denver. That was right when sports gambling really got legalized and became big. So, I don't know about yourself, but I enjoy to wager on sports and have a little bit of fun with it. So that brought me a lot of joy. And 2 years in, they were acquired by Fanatics. So Fanatics acquires PointsBet, and most of the remote force was let go. So I my position was eliminated, and I kind of felt like I was back to where I was a couple years ago, where I didn't necessarily get to dictate how I left that job, and I had to battle through even more adversity. So spend the summer unemployed and ultimately end up with Rocket, which I've been, for the past 2.5 years.
That's great.
Was fortunate enough to, at that point, have built a really strong network in the Metro Detroit area and had some strong recommendations come into the former CMO, Casey Herpes, who's now at BetMGM.
Right.
And yeah, so I was at Rocket for the past 2.5 years on the brand side, leading the title sponsor and official marketing partnership for the tour. And now, as of 4 weeks ago, I'm with Rock Entertainment Group as the director of marketing, and I'm leading all of our tournament marketing for the event itself.
That's great. Well, and Dean, appreciate you sharing all that background. What advice do you give to people who, it's tough in your career? There's times where there's ups and there's downs, and there's different career changes and switching jobs. You have done several different jobs and industries. What advice do you give to people who maybe are trying to figure out their own respective career?
Yeah, I think you just got to stay the course. You're going back to the ticket sales piece. You're always going to get told no. You're always, people are always going to have a reason not to give you a role or not to hire you. But you got to stay the course and never get too high, never get too low. And a phrase that I think everybody knows is you got to be comfortable. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got to put yourselves in those positions. And I feel like I've tried to make a point of that throughout my career of if I don't know something, I don't really care. I'm going to go jump into it and probably fail, probably learn, and then do it better next time.
Well, that's how you learn too. We jokingly, not even jokingly, but we talk about it not only on these discussions we do, but in our own work and companies about entrepreneurship as well, where oftentimes you're thrown into the deep end of the pool and you can't swim, and you got to figure it out. And then our buddy Nick Shabro, who's with Preferred Moving and Storage and CC Staffing, who's a great client of ours, we were doing a similar discussion. He said he wanted to take it one step further, and he said, not only are you thrown into the deep end of the pool and you have to swim, but then you have to turn into Michael Phelps and deliver for your clients. So it was a great analogy, and shout out to Nick. But I think it's a great point, Dean, and congratulations on continuing to do what you've done in your career and really deliver and find opportunities and all that. So I want to definitely talk about the opportunity right now with the Rocket Classic, and just because let's unpack that for a moment because you just explained it. You're working for the Rocket Classic in terms of the tournament, but you're technically. Let us behind the curtain and just from the business people who are interested. You're with Rock.
Rock Entertainment
Rock
Group.
Entertainment.
Yep. So that's basically Dan Gilbert's sports and entertainment proper group.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the family of companies, you know that there's hundreds of companies that file into that. But this is the sports-specific one. So think the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
They own the Cavaliers and operate a lot of those properties within Cleveland. And now we're starting to grow our presence in Detroit.
Rock Entertainment.
Yep.
So you are you're the director of marketing.
Director of marketing for the Rocket Classic with Rock Entertainment.
With Rock Entertainment.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So your job, Dean, your job as the director of marketing at the Rocket Classic, what does that entail for folks? Because I'll frame this question in a different type of way too. The Rocket Classic is, sure, a big event, but it requires year-round planning.
Mm-hmm.
So as director of marketing, what goes into it from that year-round perspective?
Yeah, so anything that you see out in the media or out in the public or in the community, how we show up from a brand perspective, the look and feel, what you see on TV, socially, in our press releases, the storytelling that you're starting to see unfold with the event for this year, that's kind of what I have my bread and butter, or what my bread and butter is with the event. Now, what's interesting about this year specifically is most of my team is new in terms of running a PGA Tour event. So at the end of Q4 last year, we had made a switch from an operations standpoint of who's going to be running the event moving forward. That came in-house underneath Rock Entertainment Group. And tournament director Mark Hollis, who I know you're familiar with, has taken the lead on building this team and going and figuring out how to run an event with under 9 months to go.
Right.
So there's a couple of us that have experience from years past. Obviously, I was familiar with it on the brand side, so I knew enough to be dangerous. But the funny thing is I'm learning a lot on the fly right now. There's things that I just wasn't aware of. I'm finding gaps. I'm having to see around corners a little bit and adapt on the fly. But back to your question, anything from a creative standpoint of how we want our event to be portrayed to the public is likely going to be coming from me. And it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
That's great. And when you talk about running a PGA Tour event and all that you guys are doing behind the scenes, what goes into the recruiting of players? And you can share on that.
Yeah, a lot. Everything's relationships built. So we were in players down at TPC Sawgrass 2 weeks ago now, and most of our 2 days there were spent just talking with player agents, getting to know them, understanding priorities of why they choose the events that they choose, what maybe restrictions are, because a lot of it's based on scheduling and calendar. If they're in an event the week before and Detroit's tough for them to get out to, that could immediately eliminate us. But a big thing for us from a communication standpoint this year is the renovations at the DGC.
Yeah.
So the course is going to be a lot tougher. It's going to be a brand new course. And the feedback that we've gotten from both players and agents has been overwhelmingly positive.
Great.
More bunkers, bigger greens, bigger tee boxes. The shapes of the holes are improved and upgraded. So we're hoping to see those scores come in a little bit lower. I know in years past they're in the minus 25, minus 27, whatever it may be. So we're hoping for a more competitive field. And then the underrated part about it is the lifestyle of Detroit and the things you can do in the city. So a lot of our communication is, hey, this is what's new in the city. This is what you and your family can do. Do you have kids? Here's some options for you guys to enjoy a Tuesday night. So trying to provide value back to the players during their time in Detroit outside of just what they're doing on the course is really beneficial.
Yeah, and there's a ton that obviously goes into a PGA Tour event. And running one, you're talking about the field and recruiting and everything, but on the other hand, from your guys' perspective at the Rocket Classic, of course, you're also focused about the fan, and the consumer experience, and quite frankly, the ticket sales in your background of all that, and you have such a hat where not only are you literally wearing a Rocket Classic hat right now, but your hat of your career, knowing ticket sales and knowing consumer and fan engagement, I know that's a huge part of the Rocket. with making some changes as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, certainly. So, this year we're introducing more fan-friendly pricing. A part of our larger message is, we've heard the feedback from fans in the past, and we're trying to make improvements to be more community and fan-centric. Something that you're going to see next week when we go on sale with tickets on April 7th is we're starting tickets at $31.30. So paying homage to the area code
313.
of Detroit. Obviously, we have the area 313 as part of the DGC, and we're trying to weave those messages in together.
No, I technically live in 248. Can you give me $24.80 tickets? Is that possible?
Let me come back to you on that one. But yeah, so that's a big piece of it, and we're in the heart of the summer. We're back a month, so we're at the end of July this year, July 30th to August 2nd. It's probably going to be a little bit hotter.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do what we can to obviously encourage attendance on site, but also make the experience for fans a little bit easier from parking to getting on the grounds, and then their overall experience within the DGC.
Well, and I love what you say about your overall message about, hey, we've heard the fans, we've listened type thing.
Yeah.
With what you can share, what is the number one biggest improvement you guys are focused on with the Rocket Classic this year?
Yeah, so, I think what we're really focusing on is the experience fans are going to have when they're on the grounds this year. So when you walk through those gates, we're hoping that you're going to feel a little bit more comfortable as you're walking the grounds. There's going to be a few more things for you to participate in and experience, whether that's with a sponsor, a partner, or with Rocket ourselves. So, that's something that we haven't just yet disclosed out in the public, and some more enhancements that we're excited to get out there. But ultimately, we want you to feel good out there. We know that the heat is coming, and comfortability is a main priority for us.
That's great. I guess just in wrapping up as well, Dean, and I'll ask, we'll kind of close with a question about your overall career, and as we do with everyone, kind of a make the turning point advice type question to close. But before that, just lastly, from a Rocket Classic perspective, as we're continuing to gear up and get ready for, frankly, a lot of changes on the PGA Tour.
Yep.
And I know that everyone in general is excited for the Rocket Classic again this year, and certainly wondering about it with the years to come, as has been in the news.
Yep.
I'm not here to ask any hard-hitting or tough question. I'm just curious what you would say to people who are just curious about the Rocket Classic from a long-term perspective.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is the PGA Tour CEO Brian Rowlap had a press conference a couple weeks ago, so he said a lot of the things that we've been told up to this point. But here's really what we know: the tour model is going to be changing. That's unlikely for 27. They were hoping for that to happen next year. It's probably not going to be the case. So we're looking at a model change for 28 and beyond. They're really going to try and put a premium on 16 to 22 events, and they're going to turn into signature styled events. And the reason that we've kind of been waiting to understand, are we going to extend with the tour, or do we need to look elsewhere from a category standpoint, is we don't know if Detroit's being considered in this new model. So, we heard Rowlap say that they want to be in the top 15 media markets. Detroit's number 14, so we like our chances. We heard that they want to start in the West and end in the East. Obviously us being a Midwest team, like, we should fit within their scheduling and their calendar placements. And then lastly, with the DGC renovations, we have a course that is tour standard at this point. I know there's been feedback in the past about the difficulty level of the Detroit Golf Club, and we're never going to be up there with the Augustas or the Pebbles, but we have a course that this year is going to improve from a challenge standpoint, and that's going to be attractive for players to come in and be able to ultimately win the event and some FedEx Cup points.
Yep.
And that's an underrated piece of this year as well. We're 2 weeks before the FedEx playoffs.
It's a good spot in the schedule.
Yeah. So, a lot of those guys historically who are on that line, bigger name guys that need the points, we hope that they're going to come to Detroit and do that. So to directly answer your question is, we're hopeful that the tour is going to give us some positive feedback. If they do, what happens next is the host organization, which is the Rocket Giving Fund, the operations team, which is Rock Entertainment Group, the title sponsor, which is Rocket, and then the Detroit Golf Club all have to come together and determine what's best for each respective party. So we need buy-in from the title side, from the DGC, from the operator, and then from the host org
Got
as
it.
well.
Okay.
And it's great
Lot of moving
because
parts.
a lot of moving parts, but we're all on the same team.
Yep.
We all want to see the same wins happen for each respective group, and we feel confident that we can get there. So I'm excited about it. Selfishly, I want it to stay. It's been an unbelievable event for the city of Detroit. When Dan Gilbert brought it here,
in a major city,
not
the suburbs, is in a major city.
one of two on the tour that's in an urban core.
And the other one is
Eastlake.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the tour championship.
Yep.
So yeah, when Dan brought the event here in 2019, his goal was to bring national awareness to the city of Detroit, give back to the community, be an economic catalyst, and then give back to the team members within the FOC, and we've done all that. So now what the challenge is moving forward, and I think for me specifically as we look at 27 and beyond, is how do we make the Rocket Classic synonymous with Detroit? I think from a culture standpoint, from a brand perspective, the city is hot. Like everyone likes to rep the city of Detroit, and they like the progression that it's had over the last 10 to 15 years, and now we want to find more ways to incorporate that into our event.
Well said, and appreciate you breaking all that down. And appreciate the flags, the pins,
Yep,
and we'll
of
look
course.
forward to doing some giveaways with that. Encourage everyone to stay updated with the Rocket Classic social media pages and website, and there'll certainly be more news continuing to come out over the next several months as well.
Yep, definitely.
So Dean, appreciate you coming by. And, just in closing, as we kind of ask everyone, is our company name, Make the Turn, and we talk to people about turning points and lessons learned, both personally and professionally, in your respective career.
Yeah.
If you had to say, Dean, what was a make the turn moment type thing for you, a turning point, maybe a lesson, personally or professionally, that you've really learned in your career?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take a personal lesson that's ultimately helped me go where I needed to go within my career, and that's really putting a focus on yourself.
Yeah.
I think in today's world, there's a lot of distractions. You have to deal with what's going on in social media. You have to deal with what's happening in your social life, life changes that are happening with friends and family. And it's really easy to get busy and not dedicate the time for yourself to make sure that you're not just physically well, but you're mentally well
Sure.
As well. And a big part of that is just dedicating time to do the things to make sure your body, your brain, your mind is feeling as good as it can to perform at your best abilities within the office. And some stuff that I do is I wake up early. I have water immediately.
Yeah.
I go exercise. I
Good.
stay off my phone. A lot of people think meditation is woo-woo, but 10 minutes of meditation a morning will do wonders for how you actually process things throughout the day. And the same for exercise. Like, I just can't emphasize how important it is to, get out there and move. Mm-hmm. The positive effects that it has for your brain to do those types of things and get in a routine and be disciplined and stay consistent. That's to me what's jump-started the success maybe I've had over the last however many years, because it was easy for me to go through the motions and check the box, make the calls, send the emails, and go home, and that's it. But now it's like, no, I have goals. I know where I want to be. And to get to where I want to be, I have to prioritize myself and the things that make me feel the best version of myself each and every day.
And there's a lot of noise, and even like what you said, starting your day with, I'm not going to start my day reacting to my phone nonsense. There's nothing that, not that you don't want to be available or communicate, but there's stuff that frankly can wait, and you're prioritizing your sanity and your health and starting your day on your clock, as opposed to starting your day reacting to a stream of messages that you're going to get to, but that can wait.
Yeah, and a small change I've seen, I used to wake up in the morning and I would have thousands of thoughts running through my brain of things I had to do for the day. And now it's gotten to a point where I'm more like,
what are a few main things I can just get done today?
Yes, the piece is there. I wake up, I know what's coming, and a lot of that is preparing the night before. But it makes a difference.
Well, Dean, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
And great to chat with you and hang out as always. And we'll look forward to, of course, staying updated with everything Rocket Classic and everything that you're doing as well. And be updating people on that. So appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me, and congrats on all the success that you guys have been experiencing. I've known you for a while, and it's been fun to see.
Appreciate it, Dean. Absolutely. We'll look forward to it.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.